Today we're going to talk about why soldiers lose motivation for the Army after basic training and AIT/OSUT, but without further ado, let's get to it. What is up, guys? Ben Allen back again with another video, and like I just said, we're going to be talking about why soldiers lose motivation for the Army, typically after basic training, AIT, and OSUT. This was actually a comment on one of my videos, and I saw it and I was just like, bro, I have to make a video on this. I'm very happy with, the content we're going to be putting out in this one, specifically because I put a poll out on Instagram, or a question on Instagram, and I made a TikTok about it, and I got a lot of feedback. So this video, while I do believe most of the things that are said here, these aren't really my own words. These are responses that I got from soldiers, right? People that have served, people that are currently serving. So this just isn't my voice, right? This is a bunch of different soldiers' voices, coming together to make this video, and I'm really happy I'm able to do that because I feel like it gives you guys a voice. It gives you guys, you guys can be heard more or less, and that's the purpose of this video, right? Background info on me: I did 4 years active duty, got out September 2019, currently in the reserves, been in the reserves now for about 1.5 years, so I have that active duty knowledge, that reserve knowledge. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to hit me up on Instagram at Ben_Allen175, best possible place to reach me. We're trying to hit 100K subscribers here in the next 6 months, so I need y'all to smash that subscribe button, guys. Really helps us out. It takes 2 seconds, so please do it, and like this video, guys, because I think this is probably going to be one of my better videos yet to date, and I'm super excited for it. But with all that said, let's go ahead and jump straight into these topics, guys. There's going to be like a list pretty much, ranging from the comments that I got, the responses I got, and the last one is going to be the biggest reason I personally believe that soldiers lose motivation after basic training and/or AIT and OSUT. So let's jump straight into it. So one of the first reasons that I got was trying to fit in, right? You hang out with these like disgruntled E4s or NCOs, and they kind of like start filling your mind with the negatives of the Army, right? They've been in for a while now, right? A specialist, maybe 2 years, 2.5 years, NCOs anywhere from 3 years on up. And I fell into this trap, honestly. Like when I was a private, I wanted to fit in, I wanted to make friends, and I made friends with probably not some of the best people to make friends with, at your first duty station. And off the bat, they were like, yeah, Fort Bliss sucks, this unit sucks, blah blah blah. So that kind of like predisposed me to like a negative mindset regarding my first unit and the Army in general. I since then grew out of that mindset, right, because I realized these weren't the best individuals to be hanging out with, but it's still kind of left a little bit of like, oh, this unit sucks, maybe it isn't the best, right? So that's typically one of the reasons why people lose motivation, because they're like sucked in to the whole thing of like, oh yeah, like I hate this place, blah blah blah, you're gonna hate it here, don't listen to that person, they're lame, whatever. And you have to kind of like be an adult, right? You have to make your own judgments, you have to make your own decisions, and your own like you have to get your own experiences from being there. You can't let other people just fill your mind with this crud, right? You actually have to go out and do some stuff and see for yourself how it really is. So my advice to you guys is don't be easily swayed. Take it with a grain of salt and make your own informed decision on what this unit could possibly be like, right? So the next one I got was there's no set goal, right? Like in basic training, you're worried about basic training. In AIT, you're worried about AIT. There really isn't like a set thing that's there driving you, in the big active duty Army at your first duty station, right? It's kind of just like, hey, show up, do your job, like whatever. You're not graduating from anything. You're not trying to pass something. You don't really have that fire under your feet anymore. And I agree with that, because like in basic or AIT, even like BLC, like schools later on in my Army career, I always felt like a fire. There's like, I have to pass this, I have to graduate, I have to be motivated, I have to see it through, right? It's because sometimes your only thing to like do at basic basic and AIT is to be motivated, because it can be pretty shitty, you know what I mean? And so that's one of the other ones that I got, is that there's no like set goal. There's nothing really propelling you to like, you know, be as motivated as you were in basic or AIT, because, you know, in basic AIT there's like incentives, you know, you get phased up, you can get phased down if you're doing poorly. Same thing with AIT, right? You can do phase 4, phase 5, phase 5 plus, all that stuff. You know, there's certain awards that they're giving out at the end of graduation, and so I strongly believe in that. If there's like no set goal at your unit, and you could argue and say like, oh well, you know, the goal is to get promoted, the goal is to do this, that, or whatever, but as you'll see later on in this video, based off of the promotion system, you know, that might not be as easy as you think, right? So we're gonna hit on that later on, but that's just another thing to go off of, and why some soldiers lose motivation, right? Moving on to the next one, and that is the atmosphere is different, right? Like in basic and AIT, you kind of have like a reliable support system that you're seeing on the daily, right? Like these are people that are going through this experience with you, right? And I'm a firm believer that some of the best friendships are formed through shared experience, right? Some of you guys are fresh out of high school, whatever, and you're bonding through all these things that you have to do, have to pass at basic. Same with AIT and OSUT. And you know, every day you got your battle buddies. They're there to back you up. They're there to support you. They're there to see you through to the finish line, right? But once you get to your first duty station, that always isn't the case, right? Because once you graduate basic, some of you guys might get separated, go to different AITs or different OSUTs. Well, I mean, probably not different OSUTs, right? But same thing with AIT and OSUT. Once you're at AIT and OSUT, you get your orders. You're going all over the globe, right? Like, chances are you're probably not going to get stationed at Fort Bliss with your best friend. Your best friend's going to like Fort Wainwright or something, and you know, you have to start all over. You have to start brand new, and sometimes the people at your unit, depending on what rank they are, you know, they might have been in for a while, and that hits on like the disgruntled E4s, NCOs and all that. They might not care that you're brand new. They probably don't have your best interest at heart. They're on a completely different part in their career path, that they're not focused on trying to like uplift the private and get you what you need squared away. And that isn't always the case. There's some great leaders out there, some great units out there, but this is just one of the things that was, you know, responded to on this question that I asked as to why soldiers lose motivation. And you know, it's definitely a thing, right? I mean, it could happen, right? You have this reliable support system for the past like 2, 4, 6 months, however long your basic AIT is combined, and then just nothing at your unit, right? It gets lonely. You really don't have a whole lot of people there to back you up, and I can definitely see how that would you know, lower the motivation, right? That's just another one to think about. And let me know what you guys think in the comments as well for all of these. Let me know if these are resonating with you, if you agree, if you disagree, and why. Let's have a discussion. Like, this video again is to give you guys a voice, and to give these soldiers a voice, and to just kind of like show why losing motivation is a thing in the Army. Jumping on to the next topic, and that is, it doesn't live up to the hype, right? You hear this all the time, and what I mean by this is you were either told by a recruiter, or you know somebody that was in, and you kind of feel like jaded or lied to, right? Like they're like, oh bro, you're gonna be able to go to airborne school, air assault school, ranger school, special forces training, all that, right? And it doesn't happen, right? Or just anything in general. You thought it was gonna be cooler, you thought it was gonna be more fun, you thought the job you were gonna have was way better than what it actually turns out to be, right? And this happens a lot. You see this a lot. It just does not live up to the hype. You were either lied to by a recruiter. They told you, yeah, it's gonna be this, that, and the other, and just it isn't. You know what I mean? And so you feel a little let down, and the motivation, like, the loss of motivation could actually start at basic or AIT, depending on if it's not what they told you it was gonna be, right? So you see that all the time, bro. I'm telling you, like, that's probably one of the bigger ones as well. Is it just did not live up to the hype. Motivation was not there, and you know, the recruiter definitely just lied to try and get another person enlisted to make his numbers for the month or the year, the quarter, whatever it is. Just don't let that be you. Do your research before you join. That'll help you, especially for this one right here. I'm telling you. So this next one is kind of like, you know, it definitely makes sense to me, simply because the change from civilian to soldier, right? You're going through basic, you're going through AIT, and what are they doing? They're teaching you new things all the time, right? You're learning how to shoot weapons, you're learning how to march, you're learning how to go to the field and do different, you know, squad movements, all that type of stuff, right? Same with AIT, you're learning your specific job. It's like for me, for example, I was learning to be a 68 whiskey combat medic, learning all this cool medical stuff, right? And then once you get to your unit, it starts to get repetitive, right? You're not really learning a whole lot, especially like at my unit, to be honest. Like if we wanted to learn something new, we had to go relearn it ourselves, or we had to go like do this, that, and the other. We had to like seek out that information ourselves, which is a good thing, right? Be proactive with it. But, you know, there wasn't anybody there actively trying to like teach us or like, you know, make us better medics. And the day-to-day was just, you know, kind of redundant, boring, repetitive. We'd go to the motor pools on Mondays. Tuesdays, we'd do whatever it is we needed to do. Wednesdays, same thing. It was just super repetitive, super boring. There really wasn't anything pushing us to be motivated for like the next day or whatever. And it was just, it definitely just builds up, right? It just wasn't like as fun. You weren't learning as much, and just getting stuck in a form of like comfortability and repetitiveness kind of just ruins the whole thing. And I can definitely see why that sucks the motivation out from individuals in the military. So this next one is they see now like how the Army actually is, right? Basic training, AIT, OSUT, still considered TRADOC, right? You still have these leaders and instructors that are trying to teach you, make you better. And then you get to the real Army, right? And you see that it isn't all butterflies and rainbows, right? You're just kind of there. It's not a 9 to 5, you know, like it's just different. It's crazy. There can be long hours, you know, you're starting the day at like maybe 5 or 6 for PT, and you don't get off work until like 7 or 8 or 9, depending on whatever you need to get done for the day, if it's done or not. The living conditions aren't the best. If you're single, you know, you're gonna be living in the barracks. Sometimes the barracks aren't the best, depending on where you go. You can just be in like one big room with another individual as your roommate, no kitchen, no nothing. That isn't the case for every barracks, but you know, it varies, right? And if you're one of those unfortunate individuals to be put in that situation, like if you're an introvert, you like your space, you like your privacy, and you're put in a big old room with no divider or nothing, just a bed there and a bed there in the other corner, chances are you're gonna be really upset. You're gonna be not motivated to like be as like active or do the things that you enjoy, right? Because you're sharing the room with somebody else. Again, you start to understand that not everybody's your friend, not everybody has your back. Again, the disgruntled E4s, NCOs don't have your back. They're in it for themselves. Like you just kind of like have that eye-opening thing, and you start seeing the Army for what it can be, you know, or what it really is. So speaking about how they see, you know, like how the Army really is, I had somebody, you know, create a video to my TikTok, you know, responding to it and giving, you know, their 2 cents on why they believe, you know, motivation declines after basic and AIT and OSUT. So go ahead and check out this video. Here it is.
I'll tell you exactly why. After basic training, you're coming out thinking you're this fucking high-speed warfighter who is just gonna deploy and go do crazy combat stuff, only to realize that now you're figuring out what a layout is and what PMCSing is and what sitting around till 1700 waiting on the word is. So yeah.
And you know, that's a real thing, guys. Like the motor pool, it's hot, you're just doing that stuff, and you just kind of see again how the Army can really be once you get past basic and AIT and OSUT, and you're just kind of like, you know, thrown for a loop. You're like, what? We didn't do a motor pool in basic? Like, what's going on? So thank that soldier for the video, guys. If you're enjoying it so far, be sure to give a big old thumbs up, guys. Subscribe. We're like halfway done at this point. There's like maybe 3 or 4 other things leading into the big final one. If you haven't guessed what it is already, just comment down below what you think it is and see if you were right. So this next one is definitely kind of a big one, right? You hear it all the time, right? The promotion system. There's there's people that have been E5s for the longest time, for years, bro, and then there's E5s that get promoted to E6 like on the quicks, like just so fast, like you're kind of like, yo, didn't they just make E5? How did they make E6? You see how broken it can be, right? Like if you're a good soldier, right, you're doing what you're told, you know, you're squared away, but there's somebody that runs faster than you, like on a PT test. Oh, promote that guy right there. That dude runs fast, you know. And you see, I know you guys have seen it, bro. Some of you guys have dealt with this. If you haven't dealt with this, you'll definitely see this at your unit. This isn't always the case, but depending on your leadership, like favoritism's a thing. If they value and, you know, like a shitbag more than you, chances are they're gonna be real gunning to get this person promoted over you, simply because you're not like in the inner circle with them, you're not in the know, you're not in the in, and all that stuff. I've seen this happen personally, and it's just crazy, right? Like it's just wild. Like, and people get discouraged because they're doing their best, they're putting in the work, and yet somebody that's not doing their best is getting promoted above them, especially if you're in the same MOS. Like, just make it make sense, you know. It's crazy, and that definitely lowers morale, the motivation. Like if that happened to me, I would just not care. I wouldn't be motivated to do my job. Like, what's the point of doing it? Like, really the only goal you have in the active duty army is to like get promoted, you know. Maybe like that's a lot of people's big driving factors for doing good in the military, and then that happens. Like, no, bro, like I'm not gonna put in the effort if, you know, I know for a fact I'm not gonna get promoted just simply based off of the fact of like favoritism. You value a shitbag more than somebody that's putting in the work, you know what I mean? Like, again, make it make sense, right? Like, that's definitely one of the things that I think needs to be fixed in, you know, the Army. So moving on to the next one, we got like two more. This one is first duty stations, right? This is a big one, right? A first duty station can definitely set the tone for your future military career, right? If you get stationed somewhere like Fort Hood or Fort Irwin for your first duty station, chances are you're going to have a sour taste in your mouth. You hear it all the time, Fort Hood, bro, like where dreams go to die. Like, welcome to the great place. Like, no, that horrible, right? Like there's so much negative energy behind that base. And, you know, like Fort Irwin, it's like where NTC is. These are just not desirable duty stations, right? And those are just two, like, as an example, right? Some people might enjoy them, cool, whatever. But if you get stationed at some place you didn't want, right? You get a wish list, cool. If it didn't pan out, you didn't get what you wanted on your wish list, you're going to be a little upset, right? Like my first duty station was Fort Bliss. At first, I did not like it. I hated it. It just left a bad taste in my mouth. It grew on me eventually, but I was really unmotivated initially being there just because it wasn't what I expected, right? But that's kind of my fault for having expectations, you know. I'm playing, but it's just crazy how much a first duty station can affect a soldier, right? Say you wanted to get stationed somewhere close to home. That doesn't happen. You're stationed in Hawaii, bro. Like it's going to affect you, right? Because you didn't get what you wanted. Two, I mean, you got to adapt to the situation. Obviously, you can't complain and bitch and moan all the time about things not going your way. But this is just one of those things that can lower motivation. I'm not saying like, oh, it's the worst thing ever, like fight it, blah, blah, blah. Like sometimes you really don't have a choice. You're gonna get stationed wherever you're gonna get stationed at. So just based off of all of that, you can just kind of see how like a duty station plays a big factor. So keep that in mind, guys. You know, try and put your wish list, you know, as close to what you want as possible. I've seen some people get lucky, you know, they're able to get what they want, and you know, they're happy with their duty station locations. I've also seen the reverse of that. They put down their place, they get it, and then they don't like it. It's just kind of like, whoa, like what did I sign up for? Why did I pick this place? But a duty station can definitely play a big factor. That's why it's like later on in this list, because it's one of the bigger things in my personal opinion as to why soldiers aren't as motivated with the Army after basic and AIT. Because basic AIT, you really don't have a choice. That's where you're going. That's where your training is. That's where your training is. AIT, every specific MOS has a certain place where they have an AIT. You don't have a choice. But a duty station, you know, it's a little more up in the air. So if more people could get what they want, that'd be cool. But that's not how the Army works. And it's just kind of one of those things that I also think that it is what it is. You get stationed, wherever you get stationed, you got to make the best out of it. So the second to last last one, guys, before we jump into the biggest one on this list, is the pay doesn't match the work, right? And you're gonna see this a lot. You're gonna hear this a lot, bro. You're gonna hear, they don't pay me enough for this shit, right? Because you know, the recruiter might have got you, right? Going back to earlier in this video, maybe they lied to you. They told you it's a 9 to 5. They told you you're gonna wake up, you're gonna do your job, you're gonna go home, relax, all the free time in the world, and just psych, bro. That does not happen. If you're in like an armored unit, a light infantry unit, or just a real active unit, right? If you're like at the 82nd Airborne, chances are you're going to be in the motor pool, you're going to be doing PT bright and early, you're going to be doing all sorts of things. You're going to be sitting around the office just waiting for more work to come through when you could be doing other things with your time, but they don't want to release you just in case something comes down. It's stupid. That's one of the dumbest things in the Army, is just hurry up and wait. Oh my God, like that could be a bonus thing right there. Hurry up and wait. Like seriously though, like there's no need to keep people around if there's nothing going on. Like let them go do their own thing. Let them go work on school. Let them go to the gym. Let them do that or whatever, right? And then, you know, then something comes down last minute, right? At like maybe say like 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, and we need all hands on deck to help out so we can accomplish this task, right? And then the task takes like 2, 3, 4 hours, and now you're getting off work at like 9 or 10 or 11, and it just, the work that you're going to be doing depending on your job just does not match the pay. Granted, you signed up for it. Remember that you signed up for it, but whether you were lied to when you signed up or whatever it is, or you just wasn't what you expected, you signed up for it, but it just does not match it, right? Some people complain, you know, like all the time, right? There's people that I know that complain every single day about the pay, but to me personally, it's not that bad, because if you're single, you're living in the barracks, cool, you don't gotta pay rent, you don't gotta pay like utilities or anything, it's covered, and it kind of like balances out in that way. But to certain individuals, it just does not match the work that you're putting in, and I can see that. I can put myself in their shoes, and I can see how that would affect them mentally, how that would lower their motivation, how they're like, oh bro, like why am I gonna put effort into this when I'm getting paid like dog shit, you know what I mean? And again, I personally do not think that we get paid like dog shit. I think it's decent. I think it's like a fair amount based off of the you know, because you get a bunch of different perks in between, right, that kind of balance out, you know, the pay that you're getting. But that's just something that someone put into the responses on the videos I put out, asking them why they personally think, you know, people lose motivation for the Army after basic and AIT OSUT. And now with that out of the way, guys, the big bad #1 reason why people lose motivation for the Army after basic, AIT, OSUT. I'm gonna put some here on the screen. You're gonna see them here in a second, but that is toxic leadership. Crazy, bro, like crazy. So many comments. I got so many comments just talking about shitty leadership, toxic leadership, just leaders not caring enough, leaders not doing what they're supposed to. And I 100% agree. Toxic leadership is the #1 motivation killer, in my personal opinion, as to why people just lose morale and don't feel, you know, comfortable at work, don't feel like doing their job, don't feel like at all. Like they don't feel the love for the Army that they had in basic or AIT, whatever, or even when they were initially joining. Like you'll see this, guys. You'll see some form of this at your duty station. Maybe if you're lucky, if it's not in your direct leadership, but you'll see it in other platoons or other companies. Just soldiers getting treated like shit, like their leaders don't care about them. They don't care about putting the time in to mold them, make them better. You know, they're more in it for themselves than they are their soldiers. They're worried about me. Like, how can I make myself look good and get promoted, and how can I do this? Like, oh, like I gotta kiss ass to the first sergeant so I can you know, get some good bullet points for my NCOER. Cool, let me volunteer my entire like team, squad, section, whatever you want to call it, right, to go do this extra stuff that really doesn't need to be done, but it'll make me look good. So I'm gonna take away their free time and make them work on this so I can look good to the first sergeant, or, you know, the commander, whoever. And it's just, it's crazy. They don't offer incentives. They don't care. You know what I mean? And toxic leadership can take on many forms. There's different varieties of it. It can be anything you view pretty much is like, oh, they don't care, like they're not putting in the effort, they're just shitty people in general. Like, I'm telling you right now, just because they're a soldier in the United States Army does not mean they're a good person. I've seen it time and time and again. Horrible people have made it to leadership positions, and it shows, you know, throughout the motivation of the soldiers, the morale, and it's crazy, guys. To see so many comments and individual stories about toxic leadership shows how big of an issue it is in today's army, guys. And if we could fix it, that'd be great. It's not going to happen overnight, right? You have to be the change you want to see. I remember specifically, like, you know, having to deal with toxic leadership when I was a PFC, and thankfully my NCO, my sergeant, he was cool. He was awesome. He was great leader, tremendous leader. And he asked me, well, what are you going to do about it? And, you know, I'm a PFC. I'm telling him, well, you know, I'm going to try and get promoted as fast as I can so I can be the NCO like that you are to my soldiers. And, you know, eventually it happened. Like, I didn't have to have my guys sit around the office all day waiting for something to come down. I was like, hey, like, if you need to go to the gym, if you need to work on school, go do that. But if you get a call from me, like, you got 10 minutes to show up where I need you in case we do need to do something. But I'm not going to waste your time, right? I want you guys to have your free time. I want you guys to be good soldiers. I want you guys to go be being productive, not just sitting down here on your phone playing Clash Royale or whatever it is, you know, just waiting for something to come down. Like, no, go do something proactive, man. Like, you guys work hard. Go to enjoy your free time, right? And, you know, we would do that, and it was great to be able to see some of that change, right? Because, like, all the soldiers I was with, the junior soldiers, we got promoted. We all had the same mindset. We wanted to improve our platoon, and we all got promoted eventually, and we were able to slowly make that change, guys. So if you're a leader and you feel like your soldiers aren't the happiest, or if you could do better at being a leader, you know, hey, I encourage you to try it out. You know, I wasn't the best by any means necessary, but I tried to do the best that I could. That's just one of the biggest things, guys. Toxic leadership. It'll lead to the motivation just being sucked out of your soldiers. It's crazy, and it's the biggest thing I've seen personally, and from like all these comments that you guys just saw on the screen. And I really hope this video impacted you guys in some way. I really hope it kind of like showed you, you know, what are some of the reasons people lose motivation for the Army, and how you could possibly avoid them or make these better and like improve and not lose that motivation. It'd be great if you guys could figure out ways to navigate the Army and make it work for you guys. There's a saying, right? The Army is going to get theirs, so y'all need to get yours. You guys need to make it work for you. You guys got to figure out how to turn the negative into a positive. That's one of my biggest things. I preach that in mostly all my videos, and it's just something you're gonna learn along the way, how to adapt and overcome these situations. But also, if we can try and make them better, so the next generation doesn't have to deal with it, like hopefully this video will do, then that's awesome. That's great, and we're accomplishing something. And that's why I'm so passionate about this YouTube channel. That's why I'm so proud to create this content and put it out there, because I know for a fact it's helping people. I have people messaging me saying that like my videos changed their life. I was the reason they joined the Army, and that makes me happy, and I want to continue doing that, and I want to make a difference in the Army, you know, whether I'm a civilian, whether I'm a veteran, whether I'm still in, whatever it may be. I want to make an impact, and that's what we're doing on this channel, and I know we're going to continue to grow. We're trying to hit 100K in 6 months, so be sure to smash that like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on the bell notification. It takes 2 seconds to hit the subscribe button, guys. I'd greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions whatsoever, hit me up on Instagram at Ben_Allen175. Best possible place to reach me. I have a Twitch also, PokebenTM. It'll be linked down below, where I play video games, Legend of Zelda, Pokemon. If you guys want to come hang out and just watch me play, hey, we can do that too. But I really do appreciate you guys taking the time to watch this video all the way through. If you're still here, comment down which one of these was the biggest thing to you personally that you think would suck your motivation out if you had to experience it. Again, thank y'all so much. I'm Ben Allen, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Later.